Hey guys, EBPMAN here. Now in today's video, we're taking a look at a brand new e-bike that has the looks of a motorcycle, and it has a fantastic ride. When you take a look at it, at first you go like, wow, that's a great looking bike. But then you have to stop and say, well, wait a minute, that's a pedal bike. We're talking about the ENGWE M20, which has a fantastic look and has a lot of power. This bike is available in 3 colors. You're looking at white, black, and green, and has a very powerful power supply, or in this case, power drive. 750 watts with a 1,000 watt peak. So, cool thing about this is that it comes in 2 configurations that is going to pretty much determine the range that you're going to get on this. 26 amp hours or 13 amp hours, depending on the configuration you go with. But one of the things that's consistent with both bikes is that it has a 7-speed Shimano system. So, depending on the battery type, if you go single or dual, you're going to be looking at 47 to 94 miles. You can get up to 28 miles per hour, and that's going to be based on driving conditions, incline, your body weight. And then also it's going to depend on, obviously, if you're going uphill, downhill, or on a straight. The cool thing about this is that it has significant cargo capacity. You can carry something or combined total capacity between you and a rider all the way up to over 300 pounds. So if you're carrying something with you, a backpack, you don't have to worry about it. It's definitely a single person bike. But if you think about that weight capacity, it's going to fit a variety of people. Now, in addition to that, you have a height requirement of anywhere of 5'5" all the way up to over 6 feet, which is also going to give you a lot of flexibility. You have a dual brake system and a dual suspension system that I love about this bike. When you take a look at it at first, you may be thinking about, wow, is that going to be something that is going to be difficult to ride for long rides? But because it has a shock system in the back, literally a shock, and then it has a front hydraulic suspension, it's giving you a great experience when it comes to ride. Now, it does have a super bright LED system, both the backlight, and then it has a dual front LED system. So you basically have 2 headlights that are going to have a daylight running version, and you'll see that when we do the review, as well as a night version. When you flip the switch, it's super bright. IP65 rated, and then it is a little heavier. It's 82 pounds. Now, from a tire perspective, you have some really grippy tires, all-terrain tires, snow, sand, mud, and yes, streets. 20-inch wide, or 20 inches by 4-inch wide. So let's take a really close look. Let's see our ride experience. I will tell you right now, this is a fantastic bike. So if you're really interested in something with this look and also this appeal, go ahead and watch the video, but I would definitely recommend it. Let's go ahead and check them out. All right, guys, so the first thing we're going to take a look at is the powertrain and the actual tires themselves. So first of all, you're looking at a 750 watt motor that has a peak power of 1,000 watts. You have also 20-inch by 4-inch wide tires that are going to give you great grip and are going to work in a variety of terrain. So sand, snow, mud, and also, yes, for those of you who want to use this as a commuter, it's going to work in a commuter type setting. Now, this system has I would say two forms of configuration: single battery or dual battery. So if you go with the dual battery, you're basically going to have, or if we talk about the single battery first, 47-mile range. And again, that's going to vary based on weight, incline, speed, and whatnot. But you can double it pretty much if you have the secondary battery, and we're going to see that in a couple seconds. Now, in addition to this, you can expect to have a speed of 28 miles per hour. I was able to ride this and I was getting maybe 24 at most, but it's going to vary based on your weight. And you'll start to see in a couple seconds that this has some really interesting dual suspension system, as you'll see just in a minute. But one other thing that we'll highlight before we get off is that it also has a 7-speed Shimano gear system, as you can see right there. Now, one other thing that sets this bike apart, the M20, is going to be the suspension system that you have in the back. Now, this has a dual suspension system, both front and back. So the back, it has this shock absorber, and in the front has the hydraulic fork. Really, I have to say that when I first saw this bike, I thought it was very interesting the way the saddle was mounted and the overall look. I didn't expect this to be as comfortable as it is to ride. So even though it has this kind of look, it is actually a very comfortable bike to ride for long distances. Now on this side, you'll find the battery, and here's your little switch to power it on and power it off. You do have your cap here for your
battery plug, so you'll be able to use that right here. You do have a fuel gauge at the very top that's going to show you how much power you have in the battery. And then we are going to be getting the secondary battery, so you'll see how well this performs with a dual battery. Now, there's no key required in order to use the bike, right? So you can use it both in electric as well as human-powered mode when you're using the battery with or without the key. The key is only about removing the battery from this locked area. Now, this is going to have 5 pedal assist modes, right? So you'll be able to have a very natural progression in speed, and it's not jumpy. It's not kind of one of those things that makes you almost fly out of your seat. It's really nicely done. Now, one other thing that we'll highlight is overall cable management. Like how clean things are, you don't really see any cables hanging out anywhere. Everything is nicely tucked underneath the frame, even though the frame is very minimalistic, as I'll put it. And you can see how it's kind of tied in the inside right there on the side. It's very, very clean, despite having, again, this retro look. Now, I always get questions about the tires. Now, the tires are grippy. You can see it has nice tread to it, so this is going to give you really nice ride comfort, stability, and then also traction because of the way you can see here with the type of tire tread that you have. It does have front and rear fenders, so as you're riding, if there is mud, if there is water, you don't have to worry about getting anything on you. Now, one thing that sets this bike apart and makes it really look tight. Now, one thing that sets this bike apart is the dual headlight system. These are bright, and it actually has 2 modes. Right now, it has this light bar on the bottom that is almost like if they were the daylight running lights. And if you do turn on the lights themselves, and let me see if that's a horn, that's what the lights look like. So they get super bright. So you have an LED in here, and then what you have is this row over here in the bottom that when you press it, basically changes kind of like the look. So during the day, people are going to see you, and during the night, people are going to see you. Now, the hydraulic fork is adjustable, so you can adjust your suspension. You can do this here really easily. And the handlebar itself is higher. So what I like about this is that even though it has this kind of like retro motorcycle look, you're not leaning forward, which gives that really comfortable ride. Now, the display is one of the easiest to read displays that I've seen on a bike, even though it's small. And you can see it's probably, look how tiny this is. It's just under 2.5, maybe 3 inches. And that's not the full display. That's just the plastic right here. But it's very, very easy to read, even in direct sunlight. Even given the fact that I left the plastic on, so I just made sure I know which buttons to press. But again, very easy to read display. And again, these are things that you can adjust just by loosening it. You can tilt it up and down, but you have power, you have trip, you have also your different modes. What I would do anytime I'm riding this bike is I highly recommend that you have it in 0, especially when you go into your home or you're going to stow it, because as you'll see in a couple seconds, the throttle, you can get it confused really easily with just the the hand grip, and this thing is just going to go, right? This isn't like a scooter that's push to start. When you hit go, it goes. Now, the brakes are very responsive. You can see them right here on display. Have had no issues with stopping front or back. They're not loud. They're smooth. I hear no grinding, which is also something I really like. Now, the bike does include this travel pouch or bag. It's kind of like, it's very cool because what you can do here is you can put like a cell phone. You can put things that you're going to carry with you on commute. And there's a lot of storage compartment space here. So, and it also has these little, I would say, kind of like netted areas, like our pouches. So you can see how my finger goes right through it. So you could put a battery backup here. You could put keys. You could put your phone. You could put a bottled water. And then you can just close this up really nicely. It has this zipper that goes all the way around. Now, this is, it's Velcro based. So it just has some Velcro straps. So if you want to take this off and take it with you, because you just are concerned about it, if you're leaving the bike in a public space, you can do that as well. Now, the most unique thing I would say about this bike's look is going to be the saddle. This is a very short saddle, and it's kind of like pitched in an angle. And I have to tell you, they did a fantastic job with this. This is extremely comfortable. Look how nice and plush it is. Easy to ride, and it's fatigue-free. And I think that's really important to highlight, fatigue-free. I've ridden a lot of other bikes, and sometimes your tush will suffer during extended rides. And then also, if you're leaning forward too much, that may be something that will bother you. No issues with this one whatsoever. Really love the way it fits, it feels. And then also, I like just the overall aesthetics that you see right here in the back, even though this back part would be great if this was going out a little bit longer, so if you're carrying someone with you and they can hold on the back. But it's just a really nice design. Now here you can see the front and back disc system. There's no issues with braking in any way. And as I mentioned, they're super quiet. LEDs in the back. Check this out. This thing is super bright and the light is not even on. So if you do turn on the light, you do get another brightness level. So you can see how it lights up and then it goes even brighter. But boy, is this thing bright. This is blinding bright. The bike also has a horn, which we'll just press. So you can get that nicely done right there. But just again, really, really bright brake light. Now what you see here is a very familiar implementation of a gear shifter. You've seen this standard Shimano, easy to I would say shift up and go down. Not a problem with this because we're very used to this. And then you can see how the cable management on this is again really nice. It tucks things away. The one thing I would say that there is an opportunity, and I'm going to turn this off to make sure the bike doesn't move, is the throttle. This is a full throttle, so this is the throttle. There's no part of this that is separated where you have grip portion and then you have a small throttle. There's no thumb throttle. The entire again, handle is the throttle. So this is an area that I would just put caution that if you do have it on level 1, level 2, or level 5, and you grab the bike to, let's say, to move it forward, and you inadvertently do this, it's going to go. So always set it at 0, so this will have no effect, or turn it off when you're going to stow it, or take it in a place where you don't want the power to, play a role, because if not, it's going to go.
Hey guys, EBPMAN here, and today we're taking a look at a brand new electric bike that, once again, looks like a motorcycle, but rides like a bike, but with motorcycle-like power. This is the M20, and this bike has a fantastic look. Really love the retro motorcycle look that it has. And one of the things I really like about this bike that I'm just going to highlight from the very beginning is that it's one of the few bikes that have this electric or this retro motorcycle look that I can actually pedal comfortably and has a really nice, I would say, seating arrangement here. So as you can see, I'm pedaling the bike without any problem, and it's actually very comfortable. It's also, despite the design where you see how the seat is kind of like resting there, it is, I don't know, it just feels good. So let's go ahead and talk about the specs for a bit. First of all, we'll start with the tires and the powertrain. So this has a 750 watt powertrain, but has peak power of 1,000 watts. It has a 7-speed Shimano system that's going to allow you to comfortably ride this as a bike. It has also 2 batteries. This is a single battery model that you see right here that's going to give you approximately 47 miles range. And you could double that with the second battery system that we're going to have very shortly reviewing as well. Now this is a 5-pedal assist e-bike, right? So it's still a class 3 bike, top speeds of 27 to 28 miles an hour depending on your weight. It can support a capacity or a cargo capacity of slightly over 300 pounds, and that's both rider and anything else that you carry with you. One of the things that it also has, or one of the cool features, is that it has a double headlight in the front. You can see that right here in the front, that it just has a really fantastic striking look. Now it also has a dual brake system, so you have front and rear disc brakes, as well as 20x4 fat tires. They're going to give you a really, really comfortable ride. Now the fenders themselves are going to provide you a lot of protection when it comes to any kind of mud or water, any kind of splashing that you can run into, so you won't have to worry about that. Now it does have a dual shock system, so on the seat you'll see right here there's a shock, and then you have the front hydraulic fork as well, and both of these are going to give you a delicious ride. I'm telling you right now, this is a very comfortable riding bike, even having kind of like this motorcycle look. And we reviewed many bikes like this on the channel, and sometimes you lean a little bit too forward, and driving for many miles could play tricks with your back. And in this case, this thing feels so nice. I'm able to ride it almost like if it was a standard bike, but still with this really cool look. Now you'll notice that this bike also has a travel pouch in front, right? It has a little cargo area, which I really like. You could put some water in there, put a battery charger, put your phone, not have to have it mounted like I have mine, and it's going to do well. Now, the handlebar, you do have the throttle on this side, and the throttle here is a full twist throttle.
It is integrated, it's one piece. I'd say that that's probably one thing that I would have liked to have seen it separate, because if you basically have this in pedal assist 1 and you turn this knob, the bike's going to go. So I highly recommend that anytime you're riding this bike that you put it in pedal assist 0 so that you don't inadvertently hit that the throttle to make it go. You don't want that to happen. Now the bike does have a little button right here on the side that you can press to turn on the lights. It does have a horn, so you can hear that. It does have the gear system here on the side, which is really easy to access and to change gears. So right there, change the gear. Pedal assist is pretty smooth. Let's go ahead and do full speed test here. I'm going to switch it to level 5 and see how fast I can go. We'll see what speed we see here. It's clocking right now at 17, 18 miles an hour. We're going to see if we could go beyond 27. I'm seeing 21, 22, 22, 23, 23. Boy, my feet are going fast. Looks like I was able to get up to 23 there. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do a speed test. We're going to see how much acceleration we can get out of this. We're going to go ahead and hit full throttle. It is on level 5. Right now it's clicking at 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 21, 22, 22, 23. Let's see, can we make it go any faster? It is clocking at, right now, 23 miles an hour, at least what it's registering on the speedometer here on the bike itself. Now, one thing we'll highlight about the M20 is that it is quiet. You just hear bike noises. I really don't hear much of the motor engaging. I hear the tires, the standard whirl of a tire, but that's pretty much it. So here for the rest of this ride, we're just going to be riding without really providing any pedal assist. I'm right now around 24 miles an hour. 23, 24 is what it's saying on the little display. Now that display, while it is a little bit on the smaller side, is very easy to read. It's kind of sun, well, it's not sunny, but it is bright out here, and I'm having no problem whatsoever reading the display, which I really like. Handling on this bike is great. I'm telling you, this is a great bike for distance. Love the look, and I also love the ride experience. Nice. A little on the chilly side, but this is working. It's a nice cruiser. Very nice. All right, so here we're going to do another speed test, and we're going to see how true the speed on the display is to what we see in the speed cam coming up. So right now we are seeing around 23, 24 miles an hour on display. We're going to see how that compares to what we see in the speed cam coming up. And we'll go ahead and get into like what I call pole position. And it says 23 miles an hour and it says 24 miles an hour. So that's pretty good. We have a fairly accurate display on this bike. Love it. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is test the suspension. This is kind of like a bumpy terrain. Don't have extreme roads here in Chicago. So we're going to go ahead and see how well it does in this bumpy path. And I got to tell you, it is doing extremely well. That back suspension, that support system that they have in the shock is really good. At first I thought the saddle on this bike was going to be something that was going to be a little bit too stiff, but this is comfortable, very comfortable. Now keep in mind that the front fork does have adjustment as well, but this is riding nice, really nice. And I got to tell you, people see this bike, and she's a looker. People are looking. What's that? Yeah, it's It's an e-bike, not a motorcycle, that's for sure. Oh, I love this. This is nice. So, pros and cons. Are there any pros and cons? Pros, if you're looking for a bike that looks like this, has that motorcycle look, that's definitely a pro. If you want something that has super duper range, as this one will, over 40 miles, it's going to be about a little bit over 80 miles depending on your weight. Obviously, the terrain, the speed, incline, and wind, then this is going to be for you. If you're looking for a bike also that you can pedal, like I am, and also use it as if it was, again, a bike that looks like this, you can do that as well. Cons. Are there any cons? So my only con would be I wish the throttle wasn't integrated as it was, that you'd have just having a separate piece to it. And I wish it had palm rests. Outside of that, everything is pretty amazing on this bike.
So guys, that wraps up our review. See you in the next video.